So this video is about the highest self, the highest version of yourself. What is the highest version of yourself? How to achieve the highest version of yourself. Basically, my story and how I achieved the highest version of myself and how I plan on continuing on. For this concept will give you probably the greatest motivation you need for self-improvement, for any task you want to complete, for getting more in life, because you transform into a completely different version of yourself. But what you find out is that this is the true version of you. So a lot of the times in these videos, I talk about your highest self. Who is your highest self? What is the best version of you? See, this is true with quantum physics too, how there is multiple realities of yourself. There are multiple versions of you. And how the highest self works is there is a perfect reality that completely aligns with who you truly are and your vision, right? But a lot of times people don't become who they truly are. They don't become their highest self because, like an onion, they have layers of negative subconscious beliefs. They have, oh, my mom did this to me, my dad did this, my uncle, this. Now, not making fun of these things. These can be very true traumatic events that has happened to somebody's life, but all of these events are stopping them away from becoming their higher self. There's a saying that Kanye said, and he said, when you're younger, you jump on the table and you feel like a superhero, and then your parents or a higher authority tells you, hey, get off the table. And then you learn in your head, I can't become that superhero. I can't jump on the table and become that superhero and become higher. And then as you get older, you get a stack of coffee tables going up and higher and higher and higher. Oh, you can't do this. No, you're not able to do this. A lot of times you learn that this all comes from other people's negative subconscious beliefs they put upon you in order to hold you back, because if you shine brighter, it would show their flaw. That kid within you who jumped on the coffee table and felt like the superhero, that's actually who you truly are. Before I went on my self-improvement journey, I was doing a lot of bad, horrible habits. I was doing drugs that weren't good for me. I'm not gonna go into what drugs, but they weren't good for me. It's nothing too crazy, but like shit that lock up your brain over a long period of time. I was smoking every single day, constantly. I was constantly high, bro. Constantly high. I remember actually that I had a saying of, oh, I'll try anything at least once. Yeah, I'll try. And I used to say to myself, that's because before I figured out my highest self, my highest purpose, I didn't want to be in life. A lot of guys, especially guys, we just don't want to be in life because we have a burden of performance. We have this burden that we have to perform. We have to make something of ourselves. And because of that, we're just like, what the fuck? And we don't want to be in life. So that's why suicide rates amongst young men are so high, because men, and this is why I make this channel for young men, because young men, a lot of times we just don't want to be in life. We don't have the mindset that our ancestors had, that you can conquer, we can take over this life, we can do what actually we want to do, usually because of that stack of coffee tables that I previously mentioned, all these subconscious beliefs that are holding us back. So getting back to it, when I first started my spiritual journey, I watched a dude named Aaron. I forgot his last name, but he basically broke down your highest version of yourself. And I thought it was very interesting because, as you know, we all have personalities and we all have different sides to ourselves. Like, have a smart side, you may have an athletic side, you may have an insecure side, a side that has anxiety, and a side that's more shy, and then you may have a super duper confident side. You see, as a human being, you're never one thing. Your ego has so many different sides to you, right? There could be one person who knows you as a super shy, cuddle up person, and then there's another person who knows you as just a confident extrovert. There's so many different sides to us. What finding your higher self is kind of extracting all the best sides of you and visualizing it into an actual being. And as you visualize this being that is truly you, then you become that being. So once I discovered this concept of my highest self, I would ask myself, what would your highest self do? Although I don't ask myself this 24/7, which I should do and you should do too, I've never made a wrong decision. I've never looked back on that on a decision that was like, it's a wrong decision, if I didn't do that exercise. So I've never said, what would my higher self do? What would my highest version of myself do? And then that was the wrong exercise. I think this is because it's connecting to God. It's connecting you to the source. When you ask this question, what would the highest version of me do? And this is what I started to do when I was down bad, smoking weed every day, eating hella junk food. The thing about me is I would do activities, but I would do them to their highest extent. So like, oh, I smoke weed a little bit, yada, yada, yada. That's cool, whatever. Personally, I don't think you should do it at all, but it's up to you. I would do it to its highest extent. I would eat junk food to their highest extent, play video games to its highest extent, and just be a fucking loser, bro, shit. But once I asked myself, what would the highest version of me do? The highest version of you wouldn't eat hella junk food. The highest version of you wouldn't smoke weed every single day, wouldn't vape every single day. That's how I quit vaping more recently, because I asked myself, what would the highest version of myself do? And I came to the conclusion that the highest version of myself simply wouldn't vape. If I am the highest version of myself right now, then I wouldn't, and I just quit. And yeah, it's hard for a couple of days, and have that level of resistance. But after that level of resistance came about, now I have more energy. Now I can do more things. Now I can wake up a little earlier. I've been waking up literally earlier, and I think it's because of the vape. I have less brain fog, etc. So that's a good way to start a habit or to quit a habit, is to ask yourself, with